Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah Schultz. I am a realtor in the Northern Nevada market, serving Reno, Sparks, Carson, and all the surrounding areas. And on today's video, I thought it would be maybe beneficial for some of you who are looking at Nevada as the most likely destination for your relocation, but perhaps you are debating between Reno and Las Vegas. Maybe you'd like some clarity on the difference between the two. I'm here to provide that for you. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's just start out with the weather. Probably, in my opinion, this is one of the biggest differences between these two cities because Reno is desert just like Vegas. However, we are high desert. We are at altitude here. We are very close to Lake Tahoe. And so with that, we get 4 different seasons. They are pretty distinct, although being a native New Englander, I kind of have to push back on that, which is said often here because while we do have 4 distinct seasons, they're not as distinct as, say, you might see on the East Coast. But by comparison to Vegas, certainly the weather here is a lot more varied than it is there. Las Vegas is known for its extreme temps. Mostly it's extreme high temps. You're gonna have many days well over 100 degrees if you live in Las Vegas. Here in Reno, we do get some of that, but it's not nearly as much as Vegas, and we do also have a ton of snow at times. It's not as crazy as being up at lake level, like in Lake Tahoe, for example, but when it snows there, it really snows. Here we get some of that, but typically when it snows here, usually by the afternoon, it's already starting to melt unless you're like in the thick of an actual storm. There are some neighborhoods in Reno where you're up kind of in the foothills where shoveling is going to be part of your life, but it's not gonna be like a main part of your life like it might be if you live at lake level. Vegas, I would journey to say you probably will not even own a shovel. It's gonna be mostly hot, and it's always dry heat in both places, very hot. And then in the spring and fall and winter, it's just a bit more mild. Let's talk about the job market. Obviously, if you're relocating here and you are still an active member of the workforce, this is gonna be something you're going to wanna consider. Las Vegas is known for tourism, right? It's the Sin City, it's a lot of casinos, a lot of service industry jobs, and we do have some of that here with Lake Tahoe being such a tourist destination. However, I would say the job market in Reno is going to be more diverse. We have so many big tech companies here. We have a lot of healthcare professionals here. I've heard through the grapevine with other relocators who are in healthcare that this is becoming somewhat of a healthcare destination for those types of professionals. We also have a huge manufacturing sector here. If you journey out to kind of the outskirts of Sparks, where there's this big warehouse district, there's all kinds of manufacturing and warehouse jobs. You're going to have some of that in Las Vegas, but I think the primary industry for Las Vegas is obviously going to be tourism. Let's talk about outdoor recreation. If you are a winter sports fanatic, Reno's going to be a better option for you. If you like to downhill ski or snowboard, if you like to snowmobile, if you like to, just go sledding with your kids, you're going to want to be closer to these mountains where we get lots of snow and cold weather in the winter. Las Vegas has beautiful outdoor recreation by its own right. It's just going to be a bit different. In Vegas, you're going to be close to Red Rock Canyon and Valley of Fire State Park. You also have Death Valley, Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon's just like a 4-hour drive from Las Vegas. The west rim of the Grand Canyon is only 2.5 hours. And then within 3 hours, you can be in Joshua Tree. So it's not that there's a lacking amount of outdoor recreation in Vegas. It's just going to be different and a lot less focused around snow sports, essentially. But here in Reno, we get tons of cool summer outdoor rec too. Lake Tahoe becomes like a beach paradise in the summer. So with that, you've got all the lake sports, boating, swimming, paddleboarding. Stand-up paddleboarding is really big here, and it's pretty amazing in Lake Tahoe just because the clarity of the water. It's 98% pure. So even if you are, in the depths of Lake Tahoe, you can see the bottom in a lot of cases because it's just so clear. It's really a cool experience. In either case, one's not really better than the other. It's just a matter of your preference. If you like snow, you're going to want to be in Reno. Let's talk about entertainment and nightlife. If that is a focal point for you, you're probably going to be more entertained with more options in Las Vegas. They're probably going to be a lot more expensive, but Las Vegas gets world-class, high-caliber productions. You've got Cirque du Soleil, you've got all kinds of big touring acts. We love the Sphere. If you haven't checked that out, we're gonna be going to the Sphere in April, and it's just an amazing, one-of-a-kind venue. There's just so much there. There's also so many food options. You could get any variety of food at any hour. If you're a foodie, you're gonna love it there. But that's not to say that Reno is without all of that. It's just on a much, much smaller scale. That said, it is developing. Reno does have, our handful of casinos. They do bring in some bigger shows. We have the Pioneer Center that brings in touring Broadway straight from New York and bigger cities. And then we've got some really cool independent venues like the theater. We've got some grassroots itinerant groups that kind of, go from venue to venue. Lots of kind of offbeat burlesque and drag and more kind of a funky, eclectic mix of entertainment. Vegas has that too, but in Reno, I'd say we are on the up and up. We're growing. Our arts and entertainment and culture scene here is developing. There are a lot of cool events here too that aren't taking place inside. We have so many street fairs and festivals all summer long right downtown. So in either city, you'd probably feel like you have enough, but Vegas obviously is gonna be to a level of excess that we can't really rival at this juncture in Reno. All right, let's talk about traffic and commutes. So in Reno, it used to be up until maybe, 4 or 5 years ago, you could be end to end anywhere in Reno and Sparks within 20 minutes. Now that's just not the case. We actually have rush hours. We actually have so much growth and expansion that there are areas of Reno that are completely bottlenecked due to road work, which yes, I understand. It's obviously to widen highways, give more access, kind of get ahead of these problems, but we're kind of 10 years too late for a lot of that, and so it's just really congested at certain times. But that said, Las Vegas has its own, terrible traffic at times, especially around the Strip. Your journey to the airport, depending on time of day, could be 10 minutes or it could be 2 hours. It just really depends. In either city, you're gonna run into traffic. I'd say just because of our size, Reno is gonna be, at this moment, less of an issue, but it's really gonna depend on which part of the city, because there are some areas, we literally just moved from the north end of Reno to the south back in November because we just couldn't take the traffic. Granted, certain times a day it was a 10-minute problem, but other times of day you're sitting there for over an hour in just a gridlocked parking lot. So you're gonna wanna make considerations. If you have specific questions about certain neighborhoods and whatnot in Reno, I can help you, or in Sparks, I can give you kind of a lay of the land and overview of where to avoid or where, what time of day you want to be leaving, or etc. Those are things that you obviously want to take into account, especially if you have kids who need to be to schools at certain times, or you work in an office where you're expected to be there at certain times. Those are all things you're going to want to consider. Let's talk about community and lifestyle in general. Obviously, Reno is a much smaller city than Las Vegas, so depending on, which part of the community you live in, you're going to have that feeling of familiar faces. Vegas is much more transient, it's much bigger, and I'd say overall the pace of life in Vegas for now is probably a bit faster. It's gonna feel like a much more urban city life than you're gonna have here, although with that said, we are growing and rapidly developing, so I don't know how long that statement is gonna hold true. Let's talk about education and schools. I'm a mom. Are you a mom? Are you a parent? Obviously, kids come first. We always have to think about these things, and I'd say in Vegas, you're probably gonna have a lot more options. It's just a bigger city, so there's that, but Reno, probably overall, this is a very general statement, but I'd say our ratings for education might be slightly higher. We also have UNR which is a top ranking school in the country. I know UNR is known for certain programs. Like, I know a lot of people come here from all over the place to participate in UNR's engineering program. We do have a lot of tech companies within our city, in our area, who hire directly from UNR. So you're going to be very well positioned if you're looking into the field of engineering if you come to Reno. Obviously, being in real estate, one of the biggest factors, in my opinion, is going to be cost of living, cost of housing, what the real estate markets are doing. And while they are overall somewhat similar, you may be surprised to learn that the median sales prices in Vegas are actually significantly more affordable than they are in Reno, by the tune of around an average of 100K per home. And obviously that depends on neighborhood, that depends on so many factors, like what type of house you're looking at. But the median sales price overall for Las Vegas for a single family residential home as of February of this year was just under $460,000, whereas in Reno, the median sales price for the same type of home was about 100K higher, landing at just under 560K. That said, both cities benefit from Nevada's lack of state income tax. So in either place, you're going to be well situated if that is going to be a factor, or if you're a business owner, the tax laws for businesses across Nevada are, significantly more friendly, I'd say, than other states. So that's something you're going to want to take into account. Either city is going to be an amazing place to land, and there's a lot more flights between the two than there ever used to be, which is super cool. Like, we obviously live in Reno, but to get to Las Vegas, it's like a 45-minute flight, and it's pretty simple. You could also drive. It's about an 8-hour drive between the two places. There's not a whole lot in between the two. That's a whole video for another time. But in either event, it's not like if you live in one, you can't easily visit or enjoy the other. Nevada as a whole has so much to offer as far as places to visit, cool sights to see, lots of entertainment, lots of stuff to check out. So overall, Nevada as a whole is a great place to land, and that's coming from me, who hails all the way from New England. I grew up in Massachusetts. I've lived all over the country, but this is by far my favorite area. All right, you guys, if you are thinking about relocating to Nevada, what questions do you have? You can drop them in the comments below. I will respond. I've got other viewers who are, watching and are always weighing in. Maybe we can help out our friends who are thinking about relocating here. And if you have any real estate related questions at all, I'm your girl. You can book a free call with me. There's a link to do that in the show notes below. It's no obligation, just a chance for us to connect, see if we might be a good fit to work together, and at the very least, get your questions answered and help you put a winning strategy in place. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week about the Reno Sparks lifestyle, the Northern Nevada housing market, and of course, all things to do with buying and selling real estate. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.